Oh, you can see my breath. For the 26th of September, 2021. I think it's Sunday night. But right now, it is, it's actually Monday morning on the 27th at 2:40 in the morning. I'm just now breaking free. I was working until like 1 o'clock in the morning yesterday morning. And I mean, 5 o'clock in the morning. And then today, maybe that much. I still have some more work. Yesterday, I realized, I think I said this before, I misread in the description of these walls in Alesia, in Battle of Alesia, described by Julius Caesar. He said there were spikes coming out of the wall where the breastwork, which is the part that that's 3 feet high that blocks you, connects with the top of the wall, is where the spikes went out. But I heard the battlement, the big towers. So I was putting spikes out of the battlement, and then I realized that's not in the right spot. I rushed it. So I wasted a lot of time. So I just had to delete all that, and then I had to draw, because the rules are you have to draw everything that's described, no matter how long it takes. So I started drawing spikes coming out, maybe like, because they said where the breastwork meets and then I can't remember what it's called, but it's the part that goes down that gives you the like little dent to go and shoot through, and then you hide behind like this, sideways. So I figured there was one of those like every 3 feet, because because then on the battlefield it's a soldier every 3 feet. So I was trying to draw out with the polygon tool a spike every 3 feet. Like there was a spike, a branch with a bunch of spikes sticking out from the bottom of every one. That's how I interpreted it. So I actually tried to draw that, but it's like 2 kilometers, It was like at every 78 feet, that's 102 of these battlements that I had to make. So if it's 2 kilometers, and every meter, that's like 2,000 that I had to draw. That's like crazy. And then I got kind of like burnt out, so I started doing it. And I was just eyeballing it, but like doing it every like 2 meters or 3 meters or whatever. But it'll look good when you see the finish. But I didn't finish. I didn't complete because I was burning out. It took me like a few hours. It was crazy. I was up until 5, and then I got up at like 1. So that was 8 hours. I slept 8 hours, but it was 8 hours down. So I was working on all those. And then I decided to move on and just read, just for the fun of it, just research the description of the battle on the book. And Julius Caesar said that there were 23 redoubts, REDOUBTS, redoubt, which means fort. And when I first read that, I interpreted like a battlement on the wall, and those are 7 meters by 7 meters. And I got the size from a battlement on the Aurelian Wall, which you can still see. I just looked at it and measured it. But then I was reading the book some, and Caesar said that he sent 4 cohorts from a redoubt. And I was like, 4 cohorts? That's 480 people. I looked it up because I didn't remember off the top of my head, but 4 cohorts is six centuries, which has 80 soldiers. So 80 times 6 is 480. So a battlement that's the size of a house, 7 meters by 7 meters, that's too small for that many soldiers. So I was like, oh, so a Roman fort, that's like a modern fort. I thought of the fort that I made here on Boulder, I thought that I made a fort here in Boulder. Maybe I didn't. I could have sworn I did. So I opened up Boulder, and it wasn't there, and I opened up Boulder Rome because I found out actually where there is located an actual fort that they made here. It's currently a slab of concrete, so I think they even paved it with concrete. Back then, there's even a plaque. There's a big stone that says here's where the fort was. So I went, oh, so that's what that like stone structure I saw on the top of Bibracte was, and what those forts, those stone fort remnants that I saw in Masada, Israel are. If you type legion on Wikipedia, you'll see a drawing of a legion that was found in Germany, but then you'll see a picture of the Masada outline fort. Masada is a hilltop town that the Jews ran to when Vespasian was besieging them in like 70 AD. It was written in the Jewish Wars by Josephus, and that's actually who built the Colosseum. When they defeated all the Jews, and that's what started the first diaspora. They brought all the Jews to Rome and spread them all over the Roman Empire. And then, they're the Jews who are the original Christians. That's how Christianity got spread. But those are the guys who built the Colosseum. They were like Jewish slaves brought back. But so Masada is this beautiful fort on the top of this like hill, and you can actually see this ramp that the Romans made out of stone. They just piled stone on top so that they could hike up the cliff, and you can still see this false wall of rocks on the side of the hill. So it's pretty cool. But you can see 3 different camps, like from the rocks that are piled up. And 2 camps are pretty much the same size, and then you have one that's a little bit bigger. But so I measured one of the smaller ones, which looks kind of diagonal, but that's the same size as the fort on Masada, and that's actually about the same size as a modern fort. I didn't double check that because I thought I could look at it on my Boulder, but I'll look at it on what is like a regular, like typical, like Wild Western fort is. But I think it's about the same size. Actually, we should go look at it now. But so it's like 50 meters by 50 meters. But then I actually measured it, and it was 70 meters by 65 meters, which was the one of them was like square and a little smaller, but the one that you can see the picture of on Wikipedia is 70 by 65. So I also on the Legion page of Wikipedia, there's this image of a typical like fort that had these roads coming in from the 4 entrances on the sides into the middle with like this little square where the legionary, like the general was. And so I superimposed that on the fort that I wanted to make on the wall, because it's these 23 forts, like 50 by 50 meter big forts that were encirculating the wall of Elysium, the inner wall, that was keeping the 80,000 soldiers on the hill from getting out. So I wanted to see if you could fit 480, 4 cohorts worth of soldiers in there. And I tried it with 50 by 50, but then it was too small. So I tried it by 70 by 65, which is the same size as the one on Masada. And that's actually what I did right before I did this video. And it looks like it'll fit, because when it was still 50 by, it's because the way that they drew it is a little bit, it's not exactly square on the rectangles on the top. I could fit in, if I do 7 tents, because I know how big the tents are, 296 centimeters by 296 centimeters. And if I space them by a meter, that's, and you can fit 7 across and 7 down, which is 7 times 7 is 49 times 10, 490. So that's like a cohort minus 1 tent. So it fit with if it's the same width, 65 meters, and then I make the battlement on the top, the wall on the top, 2 meters wide, and then I make the road the same width as what I saw in the image, which is like a little over 2 meters, like 2.18 meters or something, 2.26 meters, which is what you would imagine a road like that being about that wide, like a hallway. It actually fit perfectly around the side. And then if you do it down, it fit like really well, with the exception of a little bit area, so that you could have some extra area for like mess hall or whatever. So, like latrines. So, but then it wasn't big enough on the bottom. But then I drug it out to be the size 70 meters by 65 meters, and it looks like it's gonna fit. So I'm like super excited right now that it might work out, because I love making stuff like match, because what I view myself as doing right now is rediscovering what the Roman, different camps look like what Julius Caesar described. And when I didn't actually find it on the book yet, but in Wikipedia it says that Julius Caesar's force was 10 to 11 legions, and there are 4,800 soldiers per legion, 10 cohorts. And he said there were 23 of these forts around. So if if each fort had 4 cohorts, which is one cohort is 480 guys, and there are 10 cohorts per legion. So it's like 40% of a legion, and there's 23 of them. So that means you have 40% of 23, which is like 10 legions. So it might work out how many you could fit in those forts. So you would have the 23 forts where he housed basically all of his army around the edge. And then the extra legion, or it'd be like almost all of it, and then the leftovers, the extra legion, then some, would be in the middle area where the wall is. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like it might work out. I'll match. I love that, I could fit perfectly 4 cohorts inside of the redoubt, because he said that's how many there were, and that the redoubt, the wall, the fort, is the same size as the one in Masada, and the number of the forts that he said that there are match how many soldiers he said there were. So, I'm trucking along. I didn't get any alcohol today. I drank a little bit of. I bought like these 3 little shooters last night, but I was working so hard that I didn't really drink them like all at once. I kind of was like sipping on them over the course of like 5 hours, so I didn't even really get a buzz. But it was a nice little thing to do and taste and get a little bit. But yeah, I didn't have any desire, but I did kind of get the munchies today, and went and got some potato chips and an energy drink for the first time for like months. Since I quit weed, I haven't bought an energy drink. And I quit weed on the 20th of September, so that's like a little over 2 months. It seems longer than that, but that's how long. But yeah, I'm not going to get an energy drink again. I just figured I'd get one because I hadn't for a while, and I saw they had them on sale, the Monsters, for just $2. But so yeah, but like I was like, so, I think I was listening a little bit to my random YouTube videos and to my epigenetics book, but I couldn't concentrate on it. I was talking to Kirsten for like an hour or more today, but after I stopped talking to her, I bought a membership to Netflix again. I stopped it because I had Amazon Prime, but we don't really like the movies on Amazon Prime. There's a better selection of better movies on Netflix, so I decided to just do that. So I was watching movies. I saw this movie called Spencer Confidential, and on my computer off here while I'm working, and it's a good like pressure reliever to watch silly movies. Now I'm watching American Pie Girls Rules. I like silly comedies. While I'm figuring this whole thing out, so I'm excited to to all day tomorrow. Well, the rest of tonight, and if I don't do it tonight, figure out how to get 4 cohorts and make it realistic looking with all the different things you would need in there inside of one of these forts that's the same size as the Masada on that's 70 by 65 meters. And I'm just going to assume that that's like a common way to divide soldiers. Like you'd make a legion, but if you want to make it one unit smaller, it's 4 cohorts. Why not? Because that's kind of a way that you could divide the legion up, like a logical way, because you have 9 cohorts. 10 cohorts for a legion, so maybe you just divide it into 3 camps if you had to. So you would have one redoubt, one fort with 4 cohorts, another one with 4 cohorts, and then the third would have the 10th cohort, which is the biggest, and then another cohort, regular cohort. So, and there was another fort that I saw in Masada that was a little bit bigger. So maybe that will be like, maybe that's one that holds a whole legion, but it didn't look big enough. So maybe that's like one that holds 8 cohorts. And maybe all 3 of those together was a legion. Like 1, 4, 1, 4, that's 8. Yeah, and then the other one was the big one was the 10th cohort, the 9th cohort, and then the cavalry. And so those 3 represented a legion. It's the only place where you can actually see physical evidence of a Roman camp. So it's pretty cool that we have that. When you actually see physical evidence of Rome, it makes you feel like it's like not that long ago. So anyway, so that's my vlog for the day. I didn't call my mom, or I called her at the end of the day just to see what was up, but I didn't want to call her. I waited until really late, and I called her just to like offer a bike ride, even though I didn't really mean it. I didn't really have the time. I was just pressured. This whole Alesia thing is like, I feel like I'm in a pressure cooker. I shouldn't, but it's turning out to be like really time consuming, but it's super complicated, and but I think it'll be worth it in the end because I'm figuring out a lot of things that I wanted to figure out before, and I can use templates from this for the next battles that I make, like now I know how to make a legion look on a camp and a fort, and I know what a fort is and all that kind of stuff. And so I'd like to make the 23 forts and then make like a regular legion. Maybe it'll work out that the 23 forts around are 10 legions, and then the 11th legion would be the one with Julius Caesar, so I get to draw an actual legion in there. So it's looking good. Like it'll make sense, and it'll all be, connect with everything else. So, but we'll see. Maybe by tomorrow I'll figure it out, and then I have to put in a couple more hours making those spikes. See, that's one of the things where you're like, is this worth it? Is it worth it all day to draw in all those spikes? But when you zoom in really close, you can actually see them really clearly, and it explains. So, I guess it's worth it. You can draw anything with the polygon tool and the line tool together, and then by superimposing images to help trace stuff off of. So anyways, enough talking. I'm going to go back to work and finish my movie. Talk to you tomorrow.